We're going to skip the intro and we're going to get straight to the content today, man. We're going to go over here to Hood Politics, man. I was listening to this in the car, man, and man, this stuff is crazy. I ain't gonna be the one that's gonna get on here, fake with y'all, tell y'all, man, oh, this is over with. I'm not doing none of that. I ain't gonna be responsible. The blood ain't gonna be on my hands, man. I'm gonna keep it all the way clean and all the way real with you, man. We're gonna get straight to this content, but before that, let's do this.
You're now watching Compton Rick Rock TV. Let's get to the content.
Let's go, man. Let's get into this hood politics, man. Let's check it out.
Welcome to Hood Politics. In this episode, I will be discussing a series of events involving the Hoovers and their rivals, the Main Street Mafia Crips. The facts of the case are as follows. On Friday, March 29th, 2019, at around 11:30 a.m., a group of friends were riding in a black Chevy Impala near the intersection of 88th and Hoover Street. A woman named Dulce was driving. A man named Marquis Smith was in the front passenger seat, and 3 others were in the back seat. As the car drove past Manchester Park, a man on a mini bike pulled up next to them and opened fire multiple times. Dulce ducked down and noticed blood coming from her face. She had been cut by the shattered glass, and Marquis was hit in the arm. Dulce drove to Centinela Hospital in Inglewood, where she and Marquis were treated for their injuries. Later that day, an LAPD officer named Brett Caller went to the hospital and questioned Dulce and Marquis about the shooting. Dulce told Caller that a man dressed in all black shot at her car and shattered her windshield, and her and Marquis were the only people in the car. Marquis told Caller that he was sitting in the passenger seat looking at a text message when he heard gunshots. When Caller asked to see his phone, Marquis said he didn't have it. Caller saw his phone on the hospital bed and asked him for his phone number. Marquis gave him his mother's number and said that he lived in the city of Bellflower but couldn't remember the address. After running his information, Caller learned that Marquis was a member of Hoover and went by the nickname Chip, and the shooting took place in Hoover territory. He figured the shooting was gang related and knew that things would play out in the streets. A week after the shooting, on Wednesday, April 3rd, a man named Israel and his friend Dion were working on Dion's car outside of an auto parts store located on the corner of 98th and Main Street, in the heart of Main Street Mafia Crip territory. Dion was sitting in the driver's seat and Israel was in the passenger seat scrolling through his phone. Moments later,
What do they got in common, y'all? I done seen this before. I done went to funerals of dudes sitting up in the car, man. I don't understand. This ain't, man, listen, man, getting in the car, smoking, y'all go in the house. Go in the house, man. If you ain't got a house, go somewhere else, man. It don't cost you nothing but a couple of dollars to go somewhere in a safe location and kick on back and chill, man. Sitting up in the car, every last one of us know at least 1 or 2 people that ain't got shot or unalived for sitting up in the car, man.
Israel heard Dion yell, "Hey, what you doing?" He looked up and saw a man aiming a gun at the car. He dug down and heard multiple gunshots. Israel got out the car and attempted to run, but was shot multiple times in his hips and legs. He fell to the ground and attempted to crawl back to the car as the gunman fled the scene. 911 was called and police and paramedics arrived at the scene. Dion had been shot in his forearm and Israel had been shot 6 times in his lower body. Both men were transported to the hospital, where Israel remained for 2 months and required numerous surgeries, but luckily, both men recovered. Detectives arrived at the scene and began their investigation. They obtained surveillance footage from the auto parts.
There we go. There you go. This is why y'all ain't getting away, man. That right there. You see them everywhere, man. I'm going to stop this throughout this video because this right here is more of a lesson, man, than a reaction, man. Look, that's what's getting you caught right there. And it's a whole lot on here. So when you drive down the street, think you can get away, they ain't already got you on here. But yeah, there you go, man. That go y'all worst enemy right there.
Store and a nearby home. The video showed a white or silver Ford Fusion circle the block twice. The car then drove past Dion's car and entered a nearby alley. Moments later, a man wearing a Nike sweater emerged from the alley and walked towards Dion and Israel. The man then pulled a gun and opened fire multiple times. Afterwards, he ran back into the alley and the Fusion sped away. The Fusion had damage to the front passenger side and blue tape around the rear window, indicating that it had recently been replaced. A week later, on Thursday, April 11th, shortly after 6 p.m., a group of friends were standing outside of a liquor store located on the corner of 103rd and Main Street in Main Street Crip territory. Among the group was LaToya, Latasha, Catherine, Danye, Timothy, Aaron, and a man named Glenn Mitchell. They had gotten together to see Nipsey Hussle's funeral procession pass by a few hours earlier. A few moments later, LaToya noticed the car pull up. She didn't think much of it and started walking into the store to buy something when she heard gunshots. She was hit in her back and buttocks. Latasha tried to run into the store but fell and was shot in the elbow. Timothy was talking to Glenn when the shooting started. He heard gunshots and got on the ground. After the car sped away, Timothy stood up and saw Glenn had been shot in his right forearm and abdomen. 911 was called and Glenn and the others were transported to the hospital. The others went on to recover, but sadly, Glenn wasn't as fortunate. And at 6:52 p.m., Glenn Mitchell was pronounced dead.
Wow. Rest in peace to the OG, man. 55 years old, man. 55 years old. Nobody get a pass. I remember when I was coming up as a kid, man, when you was in your 40s, 30s, you made it. You was out the way. When nobody looking for nobody in their 40s, they 50s, they was living a nice life. In today's time, if you look the part, you gonna get what come with looking the part. And man, these dudes don't care, man. If you hanging with the crowd, you gonna get hit, man. Rest in peace to this brother right here, man.
He was 55 years old. Glenn was a well-respected member of the Main Street Mafia Crips and went by the nickname Gangsta Glenn.
Police were called to the scene of a quadruple shooting along Main and 103rd Street. It happened around 6 this evening. Police say at least one person is dead. 3 other victims were rushed to the hospital. The suspect is believed to be driving a gray Hyundai, and LAPD Chief Michael Moore tweeted, "We must stop this senseless violence."
Detectives arrived at the scene.
Y'all could stop it. Y'all stop everything else. Y'all went over there and found, what's his name? Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden. Y'all went and found them. Y'all can stop all that. Y'all could go to a whole new country and start some wars and all that and make peace over there. Y'all can do it. Y'all don't want to do it. There's money. There's too much money involved.
Began their investigation. They found multiple bullet holes on the side of the store. After recovering the bullets, they determined that they were all fired from the same 9mm Luger. Detectives then obtained surveillance footage from the store. The video showed the Ford Fusion and another.
There go another one. There go that another camera. Woo-hoo! You ain't gonna beat that. You're not going. Them just the cameras you see on stores. We ain't even talking about the Ring cameras that's on houses. Yeah, that's your enemy, man. Right there. That's gonna get you every single time. That's gonna get you 100 years of life right there. That.
Another car approached the group, and moments later, everyone scattered. Detectives compared video from the shooting at the auto parts store to video of the shooting at the liquor store and determined that the same Ford Fusion was used in both incidents. They then searched the traffic database and found that the Fusion had been pulled over twice in December of 2018 and April and May of 2019. During the stops, the car was being driven by a 20-year-old man named Jaquan Murphy. Jaquan is a well-known member of Hoover and goes by the nickname Trey Bang. Detectives browsed his social media profiles and saw pictures of him wearing a Nike sweatshirt similar to the one the gunman was wearing during the shooting at the auto parts store. They also saw pictures of him holding guns and throwing up Hoover gang signs. At that point, investigators knew the shootings were just the latest incidents in the war between the Hoovers and the Main Street Mafia Crips. For decades, the Hoovers and Main Streets
connected this video with his Instagram page. The same hoodie he had on from the Instagram page, man. It's all bad, y'all.
Were on friendly terms. It wasn't uncommon for them to hang out in each other's neighborhoods and even attend each other's hood days. But one night, that all changed. On Saturday, August 15th, 2009, members of Main Street and Hoover were attending a party. By all accounts, the night was going well. There was food, drinks, and music, and everyone seemed to be having a good time. But as the night went on, things took a turn for the worse. A Hoover member and a Main Street member got into an argument after one of them felt the other was disrespecting a woman. The argument grew heated and more people started getting involved. They started dissing each other's gangs, and moments later, guns were drawn and gunfire was exchanged. In the following hours, Cooler heads from both sides tried to squash it, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. The day after the shootout, on August 16th at around noon, a girl...
Basically, them OGs, man, them YNs say, you know what, nah, we ain't squashing nothing. The YNs, they running this shit. They like, we ain't stopping nothing. That's what it sounds like. That's what he said. I'm going off what he said. That's what it sounds like. The older heads tried to calm it down. Nah. It fell on deaf ears, man. That's what they saying.
A girl named Charnay and a 13-year-old boy named Daquan Allen were walking near 89th and Broadway Street in Hoover territory. Charnay was wearing an orange sweater and Daquan was wearing an orange bandana. Moments later, a man approached them and asked them where they were from. Daquan replied, 94 Hoover. The man said, oh, is that right? And pulled a gun from his waistband. Charnay and Daquan started running, and moments later, gunfire erupted. Charnay looked back and saw Daquan lying on the ground. He had been shot twice in the chest. She ran into a nearby store and called 911, and Daquan was transported to the hospital.
13
where he was
years
pronounced
old.
dead.
13 years old, man. 13 years old, man. Don't even know what life about. Rest in peace to him, man.
20-year-old Main Street Crip named Christopher Thomas was later arrested for Daquan's murder and was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. According to some, Daquan's murder removed any chance of reconciliation between the gangs. The level of pain and hate the shooting caused couldn't be undone, and in the following years, dozens of shootings and multiple murders took place. In another incident, on Thursday, March 6, 2014, at around 10 a.m., a 27-year-old man named Douglas Wooley was walking near the intersection of 97th and Main Street in Main Street Crip territory. Moments later, 3 people in a gold Mercury Grand Marquis stopped near him, and 2 men got out the car. One was holding a .40 caliber pistol, and the other was holding an AK-47. They approached Douglas and opened fire multiple times. They then ran back to the Mercury and fled the scene. 911 was called, and Douglas was transported to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead.
27 years old, man. 27 years old. Rest in peace to this brother.
3 Hoover members were later arrested for Douglas's murder. The driver, Deshaunda Young, was sentenced to 65 years to life in prison. The man that shot the pistol, Patrick Pearson, was sentenced to 75 years to life in prison. And the man that shot the AK, Desmond McMiller, was sentenced to 161 years to life in prison. In another incident, on Friday, June 13th, 2014, at around 10 p.m., 4 friends were sitting in a silver Toyota Camry on Figueroa near 87th Street in Hoover territory. The group was preparing to go on a double date. A man named Anthony was sitting in the driver's seat. His girlfriend was in the passenger seat, and a 20-year-old man named Avion Bolden was in the back seat with his girlfriend, 18-year-old Jacinta Walker. Avion was a member of Hoover and went by the nickname Shoot 'em Up, and Jacinta was a member of the Trouble Gangster Crips and went by the nickname Lady Daleface. Moments later, 2 men in a red Nissan Altima pulled up beside them, and the passenger leaned out the window with a gun and opened fire multiple times. Anthony pulled his own gun and returned fire. The Nissan then sped away. 911 was called, and police and paramedics arrived at the scene. They found Avion and Jacinta slumped over in the back seat, and both were pronounced dead at the scene. Shortly afterwards, police received a call that the Nissan was found parked at a fire station at the corner of 108th and Main Street. By the time they arrived, the driver had fled, but they found the shooter slumped over in the passenger seat.
Wow. They say it's the white man I should fear, but it's my own kind doing all the killing here, man. Rest in peace to this brother right here, man.
He was a 33-year-old Main Street Crip named Trevor Williams. He had been shot in the head during the shootout and was pronounced dead at the scene.
Tonight about 10 p.m. there was a shooting. 2 vehicles were in the area of 8600 South Figueroa. We had 3 victims that have been pronounced dead related to this shooting. We have an additional victim that is at an area hospital. All 3 victims that have been pronounced are African American. We have 2 males, adults, and 1 female adult. There's an additional male victim who is at an area hospital being treated. He's in serious condition, but he is stable. Detectives have just arrived on scene. We're canvassing the area, trying to locate witnesses. At this point, we have not located any witnesses that can provide us details of the actual shooting.
Anthony was initially charged with Trevor's murder, but the charges were later dropped after he proved the shooting was self-defense. These types of shootings have been commonplace during the war between Hoover and Main Street, and the shootings at the auto parts store and liquor store were just the latest incidents.
All right, man, it's a whole lot more than this, man. Y'all go over there to Hood Politics, man. Let's go over to this channel so y'all can know what y'all looking for, man. This stuff get way wicked than this, man. Y'all gotta watch it. I was in the car and I was listening to some YouTube on the radio, and this pulled up, man. I wasn't looking at the phone, but I could hear the audio. And man, when I'm listening to it, I'm like, wow, what's going on? They getting cracking. So y'all can believe these dudes if y'all want to. Let them fool y'all if y'all want to, man. This stuff is wicked in these streets, man. I will advise you to not play around listening to dudes on the internet thinking that this stuff is a joke. Do I agree with any of this stuff? No. Do I praise any of this stuff? No. Is it cool? Not at all. But it's the reality that's going on. And until we start loving each other, man, this is going to continue to happen. I'm going to catch all of y'all on the next one. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, Compton Rick Rock TV. Also, hit that notification bell and catch every video when I drop.